Welcome back to Lesson 10. We are now going to work on monitoring audio. You can choose which sequence audio channels you hear when monitoring. Let's try this with a sequence. Open the Desert Montage sequence. Whoa. Hang on. Desert Montage? We're in desert footage. What am I missing? Oh, it's a sequence. Idiot. It's a sequence. Click on sequences. I just said that. Open the Desert Montage sequence. Why didn't you look in sequences? Sometimes you're not very smart. Play the sequence, and while you do, try clicking each of the solo buttons at the bottom of the audio meters. When you select a solo button, you'll only hear the channel you select. It's most beautiful. Okay, now, when you select a solo button, you'll hear only the channel you select. You can solo multiple channels to hear a specific combination, although in this example it wouldn't help much as you only have two channels to choose between. Soloing is useful if you're working with audio where the sound from different microphones is recorded on different audio channels. This is common with professionally recorded location sound. The number of channels and associated solo buttons you'll see when previewing a sequence depends on your current sequence audio mix settings. I just realized I wasn't clicking in the right spot. We've decided that I'm not very smart. So when we play this, these are the solo buttons. So if you'll hear, do you hear anything? You know why? Because it's so these are the solo buttons. Okay, now that we've decided that I'm not very smart, let's move on. You can also use the small track header mute button or the solo button, and M stands for mute and S stands for solo in the audio track timeline panel. So it's talking about this M button right here and the S button right here. You see where my mouse is? Okay, moving on. Come on. Come on. There's a lot more reading I could have done. Adding Adobe Stock Audio. Let's add a preview of a stock audio clip to a sequence. Open the drone flight sequence in the sequences bin. Drone flight. This is a simple sequence with visuals only. Position the playhead at the beginning of the sequence. If the Essentials sound panel is displaying the edit settings instead, click Browse at the top of the panel. What? Essential sound is displaying the edit settings instead. Yeah, it is. We need to click Browse right here. At the bottom of the Essential Sound panel, make sure the Timeline Sync option is selected. That's down here. Make sure that is selected. With Timeline Sync enabled, your sequence will play automatically when you play a stock audio clip in the Essential Sound panel. The music will be combined with your existing soundtrack and visuals, so you can preview multiple music options before adding one to your sequence. In the Essential Sound panel, click the play button on a stock audio clip to preview it for your sequence. Then click play for several other. So let's look here. Angry, this fits some of y'all. Well, what? I'm getting 0 results. I don't understand. No results. What am I doing wrong? Do y'all know? So I can't. I kept doing this and it wouldn't give me anything, and so I did a search here. You see, here's my results. Well, you can't see them because where did it go? It says restricted from using Adobe Stock on K-12 education account. Can't view search results. Get answers to common questions about Adobe Stock and K-12 education account. I can't view search results. Am I restricted? Well, evidently we're restricted. Maybe you can get it to work, but my account would not let me do it. So, yeah, Adobe Stock is not available. But if we did have Adobe Stock, you would just click it like you've done before. You would drag it over to here. You would play the clip and so on and so forth. You'd preview it, but I can't get Adobe Stock to work, so I'm just going to skip that one. If you can get it to work, good for you. Do it. So earlier you used Effect Controls panel to make adjustments to the scale and position of clips in a sequence. You can also use the Effect Controls panel to adjust volume. Opening the Excuse Me sequence from the Sequences bin. Let me close some of these others. Excuse me. This is a simple sequence with 2 clips in it. If the second clip isn't visible, scroll to the right in the timeline panel. You can see that mine is. In fact, it's the same clip added to the sequence twice. One version has been interpreted as stereo, and the other has been interpreted as having separate mono channels. So click the first clip to select it, and you can see the sound here on the different ones. So click the first clip to select it. Open the Effects Controls panel. Up here, Effect Controls. In the Effect Controls panel, expand the volume, channel volume, and panner. So volume, channel volume, and panner. Each control gives appropriate options for the type of audio you have selected. Volume adjusts the combined volume of all the audio channels. Channel volume allows you to adjust the audio level for individual channels, and panner gives you the overall stereo right-left output balance control. The keyframe toggle stopwatch icon is automatically enabled in blue for all the audio controls, so every change you make adds a keyframe. However, if you add just one keyframe to a setting and use it to apply an adjustment, the adjustment will apply to the whole clip. Position the timeline playhead somewhere over the first clip. So mine is somewhere over the first clip where you would like to add a keyframe. It doesn't make too much difference where you choose if you intend to make only one adjustment. Click the timeline display settings menu and make sure Show Audio Keyframes is selected. Show Audio Keyframes is selected on mine. Increase the height of Audio 1 track. And the timeline panel zoom so you can see the clip audio waveform and the special thin white line for adding keyframes. You see that thin white line? That's what it's talking about. It's often referred to as a rubber band. In the Effects Controls panel, scrub left and right on the blue level number that sets the volume. I've got to select it. So, volume. So it's talking about the level. Oh. Said scrub left and right on that. And then it says set it to around minus 20. I'm just going to type it. Minus 25. Premiere Pro adds a keyframe that's visible in the Effects Controls panel. You see your keyframe right here. And on the rubber band clip. So it's tiny, but it is there. The rubber band on the clip in the timeline panel moves down, indicating the reduced volume. The difference is subtle, but as you become more familiar with Premiere Pro interface, it'll stand out more clearly. Now select the second version of the Excuse Me clip. You'll notice there are similar controls available in the Effects Controls panel, but there is no channel volume option. Ooh. This is because each audio channel is its own clip segment, so the volume control for each channel is already an individual one. The balance control has now become a pan control. This has a similar purpose but is suited to mono audio channels which do not need to balance with other audio channels in the same clip. Experiment with adjusting the volume for these two independent clips and listen to the results. So I want you to just change some things, and I want you to, on your own, change them, listen to them, see what they're doing, so on and so forth. Capiche? And seeing that this video is 12 minutes long, we will stop this recording